I know you're wondering, is this too good to be true? Is there really a junior gold exploration company, a highly prospective company that counts several mining stock legends and billionaires amongst its major shareholders? Let's dig in and find out. Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement. Thank you for joining me today. You are wondering, can I really make 10 times, 5 times, 20 times my money on a junior gold mining exploration company? Well, yes, indeed you can, but you can also lose all your money. So before you watch this video, understand I am not offering financial advice or any type of advice as I've explained to you in the past. But today I want to tell you about a company that I am very optimistic on. I believe they do have great potential to survive and thrive in the future. It's a small junior mining exploration company called Brixton Metals. Stock symbol in the US is BBBXF, and in Canada, BBB. Now, before I go any further, I'm not paid by the company. This isn't a paid promotion or anything like that. I've never received anything from the company, not even a hat or a shirt or anything. So this is just, my opinion, why I like the company and why I think the company has potential to provide outsized returns in the future. So they're a junior exploration company. You know they're risky. Let's dig in. First thing I want to cover with you are kind of what I call the company macros and what I like about this company. So on a company general kind of high level perspective, I like the fact that they're multi-metallic, I guess you would say. They are a copper company. Their properties they own are copper, silver, gold, and also some cobalt as well. So it's not just focused on one metal. They're all kind of, they've got a nice mix of precious metals and industrial metals and things that I think could benefit in the future. More on that later. The other thing I really like about the company is that all their properties are in North America. They have one in the United States, and then they have 3 other major properties all located north of the border in Canada. The gentleman who runs the company, Gary, is a geologist, and I think it's okay to have a geologist running an exploration company. He's been with the company for many, many years, actually founded the company, and he also has a head geologist, Christina, who has great experience in the Golden Triangle area, which is where kind of the majority of their prospective properties are located, in which they're doing actively drilling and doing drilling campaigns. One of the things I do like about the company as well, inside ownership. Gary has, I believe, about 5 million shares of the company, and I believe that to be a significant amount of money to him on a personal level. So I always like to see that the CEO has significant skin in the game. Now, like I mentioned in my intro, something that I do really also like about the company is that there's some major shareholders who are mining stock legends, even more legendary than Ron from Ron's Basement, and mining stock billionaires. Amongst them are, of course, Eric Sprott. Eric Sprott has a significant level of ownership in the company. Robert Friedland, through his companies, Ivanhoe and now Ivanhoe Electric, they have a significant amount of money invested in the company. Rob McEwen owns a chunk of the company. Who else? Dave Kranzler, who's a respected mining stock analyst. I believe last I'd heard he was positive on the company. Most recently, Crescott Capital, a very respected mining stock analyst firm. They are very positive on the company. And Ian Ball, who is a director at Brixton, and a very successful person within the precious metals mining sector. He actually just bought, if I have this correct, bought a pretty sizable chunk of shares as well. So, I mean, there's some top-notch people who have an interest in this company. They've survived 10 years. I think that's something else as an exploration company. You know, they've gone through some really rough times and they've kind of stood the test of time, which I think is an attestament to the properties and the management. And so those are kind of my thoughts, kind of general thoughts on the company. Now, I want to dig into their properties. They have 4 properties that they own, okay? 3 of which are in Canada, 1 of which is in the United States. I'm going to kind of go and start with the property that I think is probably the least prospective at this point, but I could be dead wrong on all this. But I'm going to start at the bottom and then end with the one that I think is probably the most exciting at this point. And we'll go from there. So to start out, they have a property in Ontario, I believe it is, just north of the U.S. border. It's called Langus. It's a historic cobalt silver camp. They've done some work there in the past. They've actually drilled some very impressive silver numbers. Obviously, there's a lot of cobalt in this area. The exciting thing about this is, number one, silver in North America. And they pulled some very high-grade drill holes from this Langus project in previous years. And cobalt. Cobalt is one of the electrification metals, and there's not a lot of cobalt around, and this is located in what's called kind of the cobalt camp. So from a cobalt perspective and a silver perspective, both of which are solid industrial, and electrification metals, who knows where that could go in the future. And it's in a good area. It's in Canada, right? Next up, I will talk about their Atlan Gold Project, which is their furthest north project in the Golden Triangle. It's kind of a historic gold mining area. It's been a month or so since I really dug into Atlan, but I do remember that when I dug into Atlan, I was like, Brixton's not really doing anything there. They've got so many properties, they can't obviously afford to be drilling all of them at once, but Atlan had a really cool, impressive background. If I remember correctly, people would find giant nuggets, like the size of potatoes, so just a little bit bigger than my brain. They would find these giant nuggets, and there's been some historic mining that's gone on in Atlan, but Brixton has a huge land package up there that's got a lot of gold in the ground, and it's not going anywhere, and it's in Canada. It's not in a geopolitically sensitive area. Okay, so I think I like Atlan. I think Atlan's got some potential, and who knows, with the price of gold in the coming years, who may become interested in partnering on that and starting to move that forward. Okay, so next up is their Thorn project in British Columbia, also in the Golden Triangle. And I think the company would probably argue that this is their most prospective, their most exciting project at this point. It is I believe what they call a periphery project, silver, gold, copper. They've been doing a lot of drilling there. There's multiple targets. It's a huge land package. So they've got Atlan, which is huge, and they've got Thorn, which is huge. They've been drilling in Thorn in the Camp Creek area, some really deep holes that brought back some exciting results in terms of the copper content, the gold content, and I believe the silver content as well. And then you go a little bit further south within their Thorn project to the Trapper, which they just drilled this year, and it brought back some great gold numbers as well. But there's multiple targets within this Thorn project. And the Thorn project is where they've focused most of their drilling in recent years. And going forward for this year, they're fully funded to continue their drilling in that area. And again, it's in Canada. And again, it's a huge district. It's a huge area. I believe it's I think Brixton has some of the largest land holdings in the Golden Triangle area. So very, very prospective. There will be more drilling this year, and we're looking for good things to come. Okay, what did I say for last? I saved their Hog Heaven project, which is in Montana, United States. Now, last year they signed a agreement with Ivanhoe Electric. That's Robert Friedland's company. Robert Friedland is a mining legend throughout the world. They signed a deal with Robert Friedland's company, Ivanhoe Electric, which is a $44 million buy-in. If Ivanhoe spends $44 million over the course of so many X years, Ivanhoe will get a 75% interest in that project. They were really quiet over the last year. You know, there wasn't a lot of news coming out. Everybody's like, what are they doing? Are they doing anything? They were supposed to do these geophysical surveys and blah, blah, blah. Well, we just got some news. We just learned, and I'm going to have to look at my notes here, that Ivanhoe made a cash payment, which they were required to do to continue the joint venture, and came out with some interesting, I thought, very interesting news. Number one, Robert Friedland, they quoted him here, said that we're looking forward to further understanding the mineral potential of this high-grade district. This is Hog Heaven now. In our pursuit of critical metals to support the electrification of everything. So they made a big cash payment to continue the partnership, and they're putting out some additional information. They announced a 2022, that's this year, drill campaign where they're going to target both extending known mineralization areas and some new target areas that they've determined. Initial drill sites have been permitted and bonded with the Montana DEQ. I have no idea what DEQ stands for. Probably nothing to do with Dairy Queen Department of, who knows, Environmental Quality. There you go. That's what I think it means. But that's good news. They've got the drill campaign. They announced it, and it has been permitted. Okay. Ivanhoe Electric is going to be drilling on the Hog Heaven project this year. That's very exciting. Okay. I mean, and they did some additional pulp samples. I'm not a geologist, but apparently they went back to some old drill core that they had and re-assayed it to see what the copper content was. And they did all these three-dimensional geophysical surveys on the property. Here's my thought, and I'm reading between the lines here. Ivanhoe Electric is a privately owned company. They have no public requirements to disclose news, so there wasn't a lot of news coming out over the last year. It's just my opinion. It's if Ivanhoe Electric is interested in, let's say maybe buying out, or they have no interest in putting out great news. They have more interest in putting out as little news as possible about this Hog Heaven project, because if they put out a bunch of good news, the Brixton stock price is going to go up. If they want to buy it out or whatever, it's going to cost them more money. Now, again, maybe I've got too much of a tinfoil hat on here. Maybe I'm thinking too much or whatever, but I just don't think that Ivanhoe Electric there's any big incentive for them to put out a lot of news regarding successes that they're having at the Hog Heaven project. But if you read between the lines and you look at the facts, and the fact is that they've permitted a drilling campaign for next year, and they've paid up, I think, $500,000 in cash to continue the partnership, then things must be going well at Hog Heaven. I could be wrong. That's just my thought. But that's what I'm most excited about right now when it comes to Brixton. I am excited about the Thorn project and the drilling. They had some good results, both at the Camp Creek and the Trapper project. But I think that Ivanhoe Electric and the Hog Heaven project could really possibly generate some great returns for Brixton going forward. Finally, on a huge macro level, why I think things could be supportive for Brixton in the future. As I said earlier, Brixton is a copper, gold, silver, cobalt company. When it comes to silver, cobalt, and copper, those are key electrification metals, and the demand for those going forward is projected to be very strong, and I think that can be a supportive fact for the company. Sentiment still for mining companies, gold mining companies, is, I mean, it's kind of come up off the basement floor. It's maybe like waist high here in the basement right now, but as sentiment improves and maybe metals prices continue to improve, that can be a supportive factor for the company. Final thing that I'll say, and I mentioned this earlier, is geopolitical risk. Brixton's projects are all North America, Montana, and then all up in Canada. And, you know, when you look at what's gone on in recent time in Mexico, you look at what's going on throughout the world in general right now, I think that if you're going to be, you know, buying a company that that is sitting on a ton of resources in the ground, you might as well do it and you know, take away the geopolitical risk and do it in an area that traditionally has been very favorable for mining, both Montana and Canada, the British Columbia, the Golden Triangle, those areas. One final thought, and this is just way off base, but you know, one thing that I've noticed when I was early on looking at Brixton was another holder of Brixton stock, a big company that holds some Brixton stock, is Hecla Mining, the big silver mining company out of the United States. They don't own a huge amount, but it's a couple percent, if I have that correct. And one thing interesting I noticed about Hecla in Brixton is that I believe it's the Thorn project up in the Golden Triangle, the one that has Camp Creek and Trapper. They actually do, and another positive I forgot to mention, they do have kind of tidewater access through the to the Thorn project up there. But from a geographic perspective, they aren't too far from I believe it's Hecla has a huge silver mine up in Juneau, near Juneau, I believe it is. From a geographic perspective, it's not that far away, okay? And then when you come down and you look at Hog Heaven, it's not too far away from Hecla's Lucky Friday mine. Oh, Greens Creek is the Hecla mine that's up in Alaska. I always just thought like there could be some economies of scale there and potential for the companies to kind of work together. So anyway, just my thoughts. I appreciate you watching. I hope everybody's doing well and have a great day. Thanks.